And welcome, folks, yes, to another show here at Breakthrough Brands Get It Wrong to Get It Right. And we have a wonderful guest, a lady that I know a long time, someone that introduced me to Twitter. She named herself the Twitter goddess many moons ago, and now still thriving and still working on Twitter, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Today we have Sam Kelly. Sam, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Gosh, it is actually, it's a long time. We met at a conference in Dunleary, wasn't it?
2016 or 17 or something?
Yeah, it just shows you though the importance of you know, when you build relationships, that you kind of keep in touch and nurture them as well. But which I know we've both been very busy, but when you build a relationship with someone and then they message you and say, "Look, do you want to do this or can you help me with this?" It's not like a big, "Who is this person?" You know what I mean? Like, so it is really important.
I always say, behind a logo or behind a mission statement, we basically have people, and people buy from people, and you have relationships on that. So, you know, today it's about relationships, but it's also about the benefits of social selling and
Mm.
why social selling has suddenly, in the last maybe 5, 6 years, come a main asset for organizations. And the reason I say that is because you don't really need to cold call people anymore if you connect with them in the right way through a digital platform, which
Yeah.
then warms up the call for you then to see if there is some, synergy or there, some collaboration. Would you agree with me on that, Sam?
100%. And I know Timothy Hughes has been speaking about this topic for a long time. I must introduce you actually. He talks about social selling, and it's really it just baffles me. It baffles me when I see sales teams, for in particular, not actually just doing this cold thing and and I'm like, hang on, that person actually commented on your LinkedIn post, like, are you connected to them? Like they actually probably need what you're selling. And it's like, no, I didn't. And it's like, well, connect with them and have a chat to them and build a relationship. Maybe go and see what they're up to. Go and see what they just posted. Is there anything there that you can help with? That kind of thing. It's just so simple.
Yeah, it is a numbers game. It's funny you mentioned him. I interviewed him, God, probably back in 2018 or so when he produced the book,
Yeah.
Social Selling. But it is a numbers game, and it also takes effort, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of nurturing. So, when I speak to people about LinkedIn, I say to them, you need to visualize that you are walking into a networking meeting. And if you see someone, you shake their hand, that's you sending out, or you see someone, it's like sending out a request. When they accept your request, it's like you shaking hand. And
Yeah.
the object is to get into a conversation, but
Mm.
also really care about what they're doing. And
Mm.
I think it's also people go, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? I think it's about testing, tweaking, testing to get it right. So you help companies as well, with social selling. What are some of the fundamentals that you sort of drive into your customers, and what are some of the mistakes that you see them doing as well?
Oh, I see a lot of mistakes. The biggest, I suppose, let's start with the mistakes because the biggest mistake that I see is companies are not engaging with their audience. They're posting and they might be doing these big fancy videos and these big fancy this and that. Nothing is going to work unless you're actually engaging with the audience. So then I'd see the audience maybe liking it or commenting, nothing, crickets. I'm like, hang on now, you can't just post and just leave it. You need to go and see how your audience is. What's the reaction? Is there anything we can add to it? Is there any value we can bring? What are the most common questions that you get asked in your sales call or if someone contacts the company? What are the most frequently asked questions? And a great way to do this, and this is what I always say to my clients, is, build a community around the brand. How do you build a community around the brand? You start looking after your community. You start giving them the limelight. You start giving them attention. I have a perfect example. I've just written a LinkedIn newsletter, right? because I was on Twitter and there's a big event happening, the National Women's Enterprise Day. And so I saw, I think I saw a tweet from this particular hotel followed me. And I was like, oh, where did they come from? And then I went back and I saw it was because I had done something with the hashtag earlier in the day. So they'd obviously found me on that. And then they followed me. And then I went through their tweets and I said, you know what? It's brilliant to see an event venue welcoming the attendees. It's such a simple thing. If you have an event venue, if you have a hotel, and there's a big conference happening in the hotel, welcome the attendees. It's so simple, you know. And then, you know, so what I did was I actually included them in my LinkedIn newsletter, the hotel, because it's a perfect example of a hotel doing it right, you know. And I think they're probably run by an agency, but it doesn't matter. Even the agency, they'll be delighted, you know. So that's just an example. Build a community, start engaging with your audience. I also believe that, you know, people buy from people, and you mentioned that earlier. People buy from people. I say it all the time. Like, there is behind every avatar, every photograph on LinkedIn, there's a human being. And the funny thing was, today I was on a client call and he just casually mentioned, I'm sure you've heard this before, he just casually mentioned that he sings in musicals and stuff. I said, what do you mean you sing in musicals? I was like, I'd love to hear you sing. So I got him to sing something for me. And it blew me away. And I was like, why are you not talking about this? Like, I would want to tell everybody. So he's actually speaking at my social media fest. And I'm going to actually, when he finishes, I'm going to actually get him to sing a song for the audience, you know? Things like that. It really is important.
Yeah, I'm a fan of musicals. I can't sing, but but I do like musicals. And it's, I've decided this year for Christmas I'm going to learn the keyboard. So I'm going to learn 5 songs, and I'm going to do anyone I'll play only those 5 songs. So that's the 2025.
Brilliant.
Going back to communities. The one thing that we find is that we'll post stuff out and people won't comment on it, or they won't hit the like, but they'll they have seen it. And I think there's more lurkers. There is people that will see stuff, resonate with it. They won't make any comment, but you may do business with them later on because
Absolutely.
you're
People
staying
are
in
watching.
mind on it. Yeah, they're watching on it.
Yeah.
So I think the content has to be right for who you're connecting with. The other part of it as well is communities. A lot of companies run out of the gate, run, we're doing social, and they post, they're like someone with 6-gun shooter shooting everywhere, missing everybody, and run out of bullets in a period of time, and then everything just goes flat.
Mm.
And here's something that I realize what social selling is like. Do you ever go to the gym and the person that joins the gym and they go every day and they're pumping weights, and then after a month you never see them again because they've exhausted. But the person that goes to the gym consistently 3 times a week will stay in the gym forever or for
Yeah.
a longer period of time. And I think that's what social media is like.
Mm.
But the one thing that I'd love your advice on, and on the audience as well, is questions that we get asked is, how do you maintain a community? You're great at, you've built communities, closed networks where you have communities. How do you maintain that? Because I had one client saying to me, says, I would love to create a community, but how do I maintain it? But how do I create a community? And the person we go, there's only one person in it. And they go, this isn't a community. What sort of advice would you have for someone who wants to build that up?
Okay, well, yeah, you're right. I've done this a few times. And actually, I'm the brand ambassador for Virgin Media Business, and they have a backing business community. I think you might have joined it. I'm not sure, but it's free to join. So if anyone's listening, you want to join it, because I'm helping to, I know what SMEs need. I know what we need. We need more sales, we need more visibility, more opportunities. Like, we don't have big marketing budgets, and there's only one person, like you say. So that one person, it is going to be difficult. Unfortunately, you do have to put the work in at the start and nurture the community, but then you select the 3 biggest brand advocates in that community and ask them, would they like to become an admin, or would they like, and give them some reward for that. And it doesn't have to be a monetary reward. It could be a reward that they actually are allowed to post a little bit extra compared to the others, or whatever, so I remember I had a team of kind of, you know, women that actually really loved what I was doing. So you will have that kind of few, that handful, that 5 people or whatever that love everything you do, follow you everywhere, everywhere you're speaking, they come, you know. So they're the people. The people who already know, like, and trust you are the people who are going to, and that are just as passionate about what you're doing as you are. They're the ones that are going to help you because they wanted to succeed as well. So, you know, it's be very selective about who these people are, but you will know them straight away. I bet you could even name 5 now off the top of your head of people who you know you could reach out to and say, look, I really need a dig out with this. You know, can you help me by doing a few tweets when I launch my book, or, you know, that kind of thing. And actually, Tim Hughes came to one of the events I was doing in London, and he did loads of tweets and it was wonderful. And I'd never met him in person. So it was a perfect opportunity. That's another thing. Meet them in person if you can. Take the relationship offline, off Twitter, off Facebook, off wherever you're hanging out, and bring it to a Zoom call like this, if it's not possible, if they're international, or meet them in real life. But actually, even international, it's possible. I've done it. I've done it. I've been in New York. Okay, I'm going on holiday to New York. Who do I know in New York I can meet for a cup of coffee? Now, my husband doesn't understand it. He's like, are you working again? I'm like, no, I'm just networking. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I always try, even when I went to Cherbourg recently, I went to Cherbourg on the boat because I live in Rossler Harbour, and I contacted the chamber. I contacted business people in Cherbourg, so that I could, and I actually went to the Rotary meeting in Cherbourg, and now we're talking about doing a twinning thing with Wexford Rotary. So, like, you can still, even if it's international, who are in your audience that maybe would like to meet you for a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Nurture,
But,
nurture that.
but it is about nurturing, it's about networking. But you know, let's if you look at the amount of groups that are available on LinkedIn, and
Groups, yeah, not
yeah,
great.
and they're not great. And I wonder, you'd see a group, and is it because LinkedIn haven't figured out the algorithm for groups, or is face groups better, or is there a group facility in Twitter?
There is.
What's your thoughts on, which
Yeah.
if you've Twitter, I think you started using Twitter when Twitter arrived, and the great stories that you tell about why you got involved in it. But if you were to look at, okay, I'm looking at a business audience and I want to have a closed community, which platform would you shoot for the stars for?
Okay. I would create a community first of all. To create the community, create a series of LinkedIn audio events where you interview the community. So you interview your customers. So you give them the limelight. I did this recently with a client. And so you create that community. Then you create a launch event for this community and you invite the people who were all guests at the audio. And then you create a LinkedIn group. Now, Facebook groups are more powerful, and I don't even like Facebook. But LinkedIn have really not helped us with LinkedIn groups. And I don't know why it is. I don't know. Even when you try and be engaging, I don't know what it is. I don't think they're giving people the notifications that there's a new comment in the group or there's a new post in the, that kind of thing. I don't think and it's very, very, very frustrating because there's so much potential there with groups. So if you have a LinkedIn group, the important thing is, yes, all of the members, invite them to a Zoom virtual coffee, get to know them a bit more, give them an opportunity to be featured in the group, So I've suggested all of these things, but I still think Facebook groups are probably the most powerful groups, even though I'm not a fan of Facebook, but also Twitter has communities. And even I don't like the Twitter communities facility because I don't think it works as well as Facebook groups. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you say that. And the reason being that Facebook have realized there's competition now. And they have sort of loosened the
Mm.
algorithms to make people actually connect with more people.
Mhm.
So that's happening with Facebook. I agree with you 100%. with LinkedIn,
Mm.
and we're doing, test, tweak, test. We're creating the Breakthrough Brands Private Members Club,
Hmm.
and we're having a closed group on LinkedIn, and everyone will be personally that we choose to be invited into it.
Mm.
But also, we're going to want everyone to have a conversation. So the group isn't about you at the top, it's about these people in a certain industry
Yeah.
talking to each other. And they're going to have to join the group, they're going to have to agree on A, B, C, and D.
Mm.
And there's also going to be, an element of that. And we're going to test that with LinkedIn, because when we ran with Facebook, some of the people on LinkedIn says, "Oh, I don't have Facebook group." And me
Exactly.
personally, I'm like you.
Yeah.
I don't use Facebook.
Yeah.
I used it for a while. I
Mm.
don't use it. I'm LinkedIn, and I love YouTube. So, podcasting, YouTube, and LinkedIn are my babies. So I think it's and so yeah, so that's where we're testing with the community. But I want to just change direction for a second. People don't realize it takes a long time. Like, for yourself, people
10
see it and it goes, "Oh, brilliant, you're doing this and everything." And
years.
why aren't I getting that? Yeah, but how long have you been doing it? Like,
I
you must be
know.
doing it over 10 years now, are you?
Yeah. 10 years.
Longer,
Yeah.
longer, probably,
Well, 10 years, yeah, 10 years kind of the Twitter, the whole social media thing,
yeah.
you know. But can I just actually one thing we missed was WhatsApp, WhatsApp groups.
Oh, WhatsApp
If I
group.
joined if I
Oh,
joined every single WhatsApp thing that I've been invited to, I'd have nothing. You wouldn't have time to have me on this podcast. So I'm very selective. But however, if you have a small core group, like maybe 10, maybe if it's a small group of executives, for example, or something like that, yes, WhatsApp is brilliant for maybe maximum of 50, maximum, maybe even less. But I would only really 20, you know. Any more than that, I don't think I would join a group that bigger, on WhatsApp. But WhatsApp is very effective.
yeah. I'm just looking. I'm probably in about four groups on WhatsApp. There's more groups there that I'm in, but I don't, you
Yeah.
know, and the groups that I'm in, one is Toastmasters.
Yeah.
So there's a collectivism in that, and then there's another group. There's maybe about 50 people in it. Anything other, there's other groups there that I was invited to, which I'm gonna go, who invited me to this? I wasn't asked. And I just go,
Yeah, I
okay,
just
have a
leave.
look
I
and,
just
and leave.
leave. Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
couldn't
You're not getting
manage.
value.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
couldn't.
actually a really good point. If you're not getting value, people are not going to stay.
No, no. And
Mm.
I just kind of, I haven't got time for that. You know,
Yeah.
I always say on our show, and, we are always fighting for people's attention. That's what it is. I remember going, back in 2016 and saying to people, do you know what? Everybody's fighting for this. Everyone's looking to get you through to something the size of the palm of your hand. And it's even got smaller with, we're fighting attention. So I do like the idea with WhatsApp, but, and I think people want, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. You can't be
Like I'm on
all,
Discord. What about Discord? No, I'm on Telegram. No,
but
we have to stick to
it's,
one.
it's, it's like a business partner of mine. He's trying to get me to go on to Clubhouse,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
he does, great calls and does business in Clubhouse. And I have the app, but I kind of going,
Do you really need another app? I know I
do you
had
need another
Clubhouse
app?
and I was doing really well in it and I did get business from it. However, don't forget LinkedIn audio, Joe. Like you would love LinkedIn audio. And because we're international and because we're Irish, our Irish accent, people love the Irish accent and our sense of humor. So I've got lots of business from LinkedIn audio events. So it's like Clubhouse, but it's LinkedIn. So I don't know if you've done one of them
Well,
before.
I've done LinkedIn Lives, which is
No,
video.
audios.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, yeah, I haven't checked the audio out. And
What I'll do
another,
is I'll invite you to one when I'm doing one again. And
yeah,
just
here's something we've learned as well. If you want to, if you put a post up on LinkedIn, okay, and you don't put a link in the post,
Mhm.
sending you somewhere, that post will travel further than if you have a link pushing you out.
Yeah.
So what you do is you'll put the link in the comments.
Comments. Yeah.
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 And it gets a greater reach. And we're doing that and that we're getting huge traction. And the other thing we love doing as well is the newsletters because that goes into people's
Oh,
email boxes as well.
I'm a huge advocate for the LinkedIn newsletters. They're so powerful. And do you know what I love about them most, though, Joe, is that reconnecting with your audience when you publish the first one. So everybody in your
Yeah.
followers and your connections from like 10 years ago is getting it.
Everybody gets it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody. The first one you do. So you
it's
want to
lovely.
make sure it's right.
Well, I started off with 3,000. Yeah, you have to get the title right. That's really important. I started out with 3,000 subscribers and now I have 5,400, I think. So every time you do a LinkedIn newsletter as well, and
It
if you're
adds,
adding
yeah.
value, people will subscribe, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I think we've about 2,000 at the moment, and
Really good.
yeah, every month it sort of grows a little on it, but we're very selective. Like when we're connecting with people, we're very selective now with our connection requests because we're really homing in on the people that we want to speak to. We're networking on it. Tell me this. I said to you there, about the different groups and everything and all. So you and me, I'm guessing by the conversation, you've really sort of honed more in on LinkedIn than Twitter/X.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, what other stuff do you kind of, and I know you're a great researcher and you're looking at stuff as well. And what other benefits do you see LinkedIn offer? Now LinkedIn Navigator is just awesome. It's a drill down machine, especially with Boolean search on it. But just from your own thoughts, what other stuff are you seeing that that you go, this is awesome for business with LinkedIn?
Well, LinkedIn newsletters, LinkedIn audio, definitely LinkedIn audio. I do LinkedIn lives with clients because I have a mastermind group, and I charge 297 a month for that. And that mastermind group is a core little small group of people that are experts in their niche already. But I find with LinkedIn, it's a great, if you can open a group message on LinkedIn, that's a really good idea, Joe. You could actually open a group messenger on LinkedIn. Do you know what I mean by that?
Just
Like
for
it's
the group, yeah,
just
yeah.
for the group. Yeah. So I'm finding that really effective with my group. And then I interview them live. So get them to give some value so that I can introduce them to my community. I have 17,000 followers on LinkedIn, I think. But like the LinkedIn audios, the LinkedIn newsletters are game changers, I think, for anybody on LinkedIn. And also that feature section is really important. And the services section, there's a services tab. If you go to your profile and you click add, what is it you do? Hang on, I'm just doing it here while I'm
I know.
talking
Look,
to you.
we can show people that later. But
Yeah.
here's something as well. LinkedIn have brought out short videos. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Vertical videos. Yes, absolutely. Vertical videos. Oh my God. The difference it's making with your, so instead of putting the video horizontal, if you put it vertical, it's getting seen, but I'm getting third connection requests, you know? I
Yeah.
never got third connection requests before.
Yeah, it's just a new feature and it's coming out on it. Uh, When you're planning to do a video, like a short video or something on it,
Plan. Did you say plan? Sorry, go
plan,
on.
yeah, plan. You know, what is your thought process before you do it? Is it just spur of the moment, or is you kind of go, hang on, I've realized A, B, and C, and I need to do this. So, you know,
Everything with me is okay, everything with me, I have strategy of who I want to reach and how much I want to earn next year and all that kind of stuff, right? And I have a plan for the book and a plan for an online course, which I've been putting on off for years. But the spur of the moment, I just gave an example earlier. I saw a tweet from someone. I thought it was a really good topic, and I went, I'll write a newsletter about that. So that's what I do. That's how I roll. And also, when that gentleman sang to me, when I heard his voice, I actually recorded a video of my emotion in that moment. And I'll tell you why. because now I haven't put it out yet, but I wanted to record the emotion I was feeling at that time because I did it once. I was in the car park in Super Value. This woman came up to me. I used to have a women's network and I had it all over my car. And she came over and she goes, "You're great. Do you know that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're great. I love that you're helping women and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I actually got a bit emotional afterwards because I was like, "Oh my God," like it was lashing rain. My eyeliner was down my face. My hair was wet. I looked terrible. But I did a video right then about how I was feeling about someone actually coming up and making me feel like, okay, it's worthwhile. This is worth doing. And that video, of course, where I look terrible, has done the best, So
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the difference between like our motto is, you know, think, say, do. That's what and it's also about testing, tweaking. Like I'd put up a video or something, which nothing, no relevance, anything, and you get lots of people looking at it. But that's entertainment. And, for me, it's not about it. I don't listen to much entertainment. I'm always trying to find educational. So, I'm always trying to find the educational. I'm doing a course in law at the moment as well.
wow.
And, I'm enjoying education. I'm just absorbing it. I'm always trying to find out, even though, I help companies grow their sales departments and teach sales, I'm always still learning about sales and I'm always
Yeah.
learning about marketing. So when I post up something on LinkedIn, it's a great response, but I'm going to go, okay, it's maybe some of them are aware who I exist, but there's no real value of it. So I don't post stuff up,
Fluffy stuff. Yeah. I
fluffy
mean,
stuff.
stuff.
So am I wrong in that?
Um, oh, I'll give you an example. My grandson, my husband, puts all the books all aligned to the edge of the bookshelf, right? And when my grandson comes over, he comes in, he pushes all of them back, right? So I got a little video of him doing that, and it didn't show his face or anything. And I put it on, and it went viral, 5 million views. Now, did I get one sign up from that? Did I get one subscriber? Because I have a subscribe button on my Twitter where people can subscribe for 250 a month. I did not get one. Do you know what I mean? I got lots of new followers, but it was of no value to me whatsoever. However, I was at an event recently and someone that I was hoping to do business with actually said, that video that I saw, blah, 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 that was so cute. Oh my God, how old's your grandson? Do you know what I mean? It nurtured the relationship. So
Yeah, yeah. Like
it
I,
depends.
I think years ago it was all about clicks. For
Mm,
me, the ego.
mm,
10 years ago, it was about the clicks and it was
mm.
about, like both of us, we both have done TEDx talks. We've
Yeah.
stood up in audience of,
Well,
people and spoke to them at, events. And for me, it was, clicks and likes. And, now
no.
it's not. For
Mm.
me now, I would rather 100 people watch my video who get something. Like I would rather 100 people or 5 people watch this and
Yeah,
get something from it than 1,000 people who we get nothing
absolutely
from.
agree. Absolutely agree. But that's where what you're doing, your strategy comes into it, right? So that strategy of fine tuning down who it is you want to reach, who's your ideal client. So it's fine tuning your message to attract that ideal client. It's like there's certain people I would have worked with years ago that I wouldn't work with now. No way. No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Too much energy, not paying enough, all of that stuff, not paying on time, all that kind of stuff. So it takes too much energy as well. But if you have a client that actually values what you're doing, and you feel so good knowing that actually they're valuing this. They see the value in what I'm delivering here. And it's such a lovely feeling. So I focus more on working less, like working
Yeah,
smart.
it's a good friend of mine, Raymond. He's a great businessman. He's, the billionaire IP consultant, said to me, and it resonated with me. How can people value you if you can't value yourself?
Ah, yes.
And
And
when he said that to me, I went, you know what? He's spot on. He's spot on. And that's where it is. You putting the value in it. And you know,
And
tell
that
me,
only happened recently, Joe, just for anyone listening. That I only copped onto that like maybe 2 years ago, but this year in particular, and I'm sure you've probably noticed this online, even from what I'm putting out there, is when I started owning the fact that, you know what, I am a LinkedIn expert as well. I was afraid to say it. I was afraid to, show that I do know a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know. And so it was to own that expertise and own it, and that once I'd started owning it and being proud of it, that's when things changed for me.
yeah, it's for me, it's about sales. As you know, we wrote the book Salescraft and teaching people how to sell, and you know. People don't realize that there are touch points, there's psychology, there's the pause, there's the right language. There's a lot in the sales process, but it's repetition. And people that put the time and effort into that can grow their business. But for us with LinkedIn, I probably know, I LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn, I shout about it all the time. For us, it's an outreach platform that drives our business.
Yeah,
And the sometimes do you ever sometimes you're talking to people and and you kind of go, God, I know more about this than I actually know. It's like podcasting. I've
I
been
know.
doing,
I love that. Yeah.
I've been doing podcasting since, radio podcasting since 2016. So I'm at it a long time. But what I know, I just take for granted, and
I know.
so
Yeah.
I wrote a book which is, at jdc.ie. It's some free resources that we have with other stuff as well on how to create a podcast. And I sent it to people going, oh my God, this information is great. I says, well, all it is just, it's very simple, you know. And they go, oh no. And sometimes we forget that what we take for granted,
Yeah.
other people struggle with.
100%. Even something as simple as attaching an email. I have my husband, right? That's when I realize how much, people don't know. Like, I mean, he's barely on WhatsApp. And, I'd be like, no, you just link that. And he's like, what are you talking about? And we don't realize how much we know. And I remember I noticed it when I did a video. I just did a video, how to pin a tweet. That was a video. And that's probably my most popular video, how to pin a tweet. And it was so simple to me, but lots of people didn't know. They were like, oh, I always wanted to know how to do this. So we
Uh,
do forget. We do.
You have an event coming up as well, do you, in November? Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
and it's partly for that reason, because there's so many people that are, maybe they start a business and then they know they have to be on social media, but they're not sure which platform. And, there's a lot of confusion out there with so much noise. And do I be using video? Should I be writing things? What should I be doing? And TikTok, and should I be on? My friend's on TikTok. She says it's great. That doesn't mean it's going to be great for you because your audience might be different. So I decided I'd gone to various events, and it was always the marketing section of the event was always booked out. And sometimes I couldn't get in. I was like, okay, they're missing a trick here at this event because this marketing event has been packed every time. I said, you know what, I'm just going to do an event. So I did it last year, Social Media Fest, and it's all about the platforms: Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, short form video, Google Analytics. It's all about social media for small business owners in particular, but even for the bigger businesses. And so, yeah, it's on the 20th of November. It's in Wexford. But we also have virtual tickets. So if you can't join us in person, you can. And I think that's important to have virtual tickets at events because, some people can't go because they're caring for an elderly person or they have young children, or, at least they can tune in and they can get the recording. But the value that was shared last year, it was phenomenal. I learned so much, and there's so much. The people that I get are experts that I know are rocking already. Like we have Louise Brogan, she's a LinkedIn expert. We actually have Anita Wong coming back from, she came last year. She's going to talk about AI, how to use AI for your videos, short form videos. So these are all tools that people can learn and then they can leave with a strategy for 2025. And also I have Alison Arngrim, who was Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. So if you want to interview her, I can do an introduction. She was Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie. So some people listening might be younger, they might not
Do
remember
you
Little
know, I
House.
try to find those videos for my daughters to watch last year because I think they're so wholesome that
Oh, lovely. Yeah,
the garbage, the animation garbage that I actually went, I couldn't find them anywhere. Couldn't find them
I
anywhere.
know it's really
Yeah.
difficult. Do you know what? TG Caher, TG4 has them on, I think. I
Don't
can't.
have TV.
All right,
Don't.
okay. But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, yeah, definitely. It's so, so wonderful. So during the pandemic, I was in touch with her because she was speaking at an online event I was doing. And I remember I showed her how to stream, how to use Restream and stuff. So, during the pandemic, she had a dilemma. She was like, how am I going to do my shows? Because she has a show that she does and she travels around with, but she had to cancel all that during the pandemic. So she had to learn at 65 years of age how to use social media, how to use live stream, how to use Facebook Live. And she's going to talk about the power of nostalgia at Social Media Fest.
Well, it's mad. Like I was using Zoom in 2019 and I was trying to educate people and
I
COVID kicked
know.
in and the good thing out of that was it educated everyone to jump on Zoom. So it was a plus for us on it.
We're
Tell me this.
trailblazers as well. Like I remember one of my clients was a shop, a clothes shop, and I was like, you have to get online and do videos and start showing people the clothes. You'll sell loads. No, 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 no. And of course, pandemic hit. What's happening now?
Ding.
That's the biggest sales she's getting is online now. Yeah. So
Tell me, what's the link to the event?
it's
If
socialmediafest.ie.
perfect. Right.
Socialmediafest.ie.
Sam, tell me this. What did you get wrong to get right?
Listening to the haters. Um,
Explain.
I used to listen to the haters. No, what I got wrong was listening to them in the first place. So I've learned to ignore the haters and just keep being the best at what I do. So I had to learn how to, you know, is how important is it? Is a great saying. How important is it? Just keep doing what you're doing, keep being the best. But before I would have let that affect me. I would have let what someone said affect me. It's none of my business what people think of me. Some people are going to love me, some people are not going to like me at all. So learning that skill. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Is it the answer to your question?
The conversation that we've had, I'll be truthful with you. I see him more humble now today than if I had interviewed you a couple of years ago, and I think that's wonderful.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was I a
I
bit
think
cocky? Was I a bit cocky?
no, you have you have you're. I can see it that the ego has dropped,
Okay, okay.
and
Yeah,
you're
yeah, good.
and even. I've watched a couple of your stuff online and then said, I called Sam back for an interview because I can
Thank,
really see you're
thank you.
blossoming. We've all been there. Look, I've had an ego. And I think as we get older as well, we do come a little bit more humble and appreciative of things in life. And I can really see that with you. And genuinely, I'm saying that genuinely to you, and I can
Thank
only
you.
see the future getting better for you as well.
I appreciate that. But gratitude is a big thing, isn't it? Gratitude. I think like my daughter, she goes to Limerick on the bus to college, and the bus crashed on Sunday, and I haven't seen her since, obviously, but she's okay, like. But obviously, I would have gone down if she wasn't. But the gratitude I have this week is unreal, and just knowing that, you know what, especially when you see everything going on in the world, we can only keep our side of the street clean and, look after each other. And if we can make a difference to one person, even listening today, that's a win, you
Yeah,
know.
I even as I'm in my mid 50s, I kind of realize that one of the things that I learned was, sort of facing your shame, facing your guilt from past and going through that process and coming out the other end.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. Like Brian Kennedy, who he was doing a course last night on stress management, and I got zero with them all because I don't suffer from stress anymore because
That, yeah.
I've it's the value that we see of the people around us as well. So it's great. Sam, if someone wants to shout out to you on LinkedIn, what's your LinkedIn URL as well?
It's actually Tweeting Goddess, but I see I'll have to, that's another thing, Tweeting Goddess. I'm gonna have to rebrand, but then it's so powerful. Samantha Kelly on LinkedIn and Tweeting Goddess everywhere else.
Everywhere else on it. Sam or Samantha Kelly, it's great having you on the show. Thank you.
And thank you.